Where do I belong? That question you can never answer. I don't think there's ever an actual answer because we belong in many ways and in many places. One of the things I think about a lot is, why did it take me so long? Like, how come when I was 22, why didn't I just do that, what I'm doing now, then? I consider myself a slow worker. I'm a slow mover. I'm a late bloomer. Hello, welcome to the studio. For me, I feel like life just takes a little longer, and that's good. When you're just trying to survive, like as a person, when you're just trying to figure out very basic things about yourself, it's really difficult to throw yourself into something passionately without boundaries. I think it does come with maturity. I mean, I think it comes with time. There's nothing wrong with living your life, having experiences and going through cycles. The last 10 years have been different versions of myself. Same person, but just like in these 2 years, I learned this. A piece of advice that I always tell myself, because somebody told me when I was younger, was you cannot skip ahead in line. You have to wait your turn. And that's a very frustrating thing to think about. I have a ton of ideas. I always like to just like jump right into the craziest things I want to do and then sort of backpedal and figure out how much is too much. So learning to be patient and to accept that there's good in every part of life. It's not just reaching success or reaching, the top of the mountain. It's really like how you're getting to that, what's happening in between those moments. I think from a very early age, my parents knew that I was an artist. It was never really a question. It was more like always providing me opportunities to continue furthering that curiosity, and they sacrificed a lot for me to be able to continue my art education. When the market crashed in the US, our family home was foreclosed on, so we lost our house. This past year in 2020, thinking about these larger issues in my work, somehow it was triggered when I was looking through these maps of Jacksonville, Florida, which is where my parents moved to. And I had this book of maps. I just wanted to do like a daily visual exercise. But as I was doing these drawings, I realized my migration from Ecuador to Florida, from Miami to Jacksonville, this question about where I belong has always been there. And so that foreclosure series, it kind of come out of connecting to a larger story in my own life of displacement. As an immigrant, as an undocumented person in the US, having DACA is a huge privilege because not everybody in the community has the ability to have a work permit or papers that can protect you from deportation. It also became a platform for me. It also means that I now have this ability to work that I can use to continue to push for better immigration reform. As a DACA recipient, I have a responsibility to use that privilege for the better of everybody. I think art school is super beneficial for people who think that this is going to be their career. They really want to pursue this and they really want to sort of hone in on that craft. I think going to school to learn more about those interests can really help you develop your voice and really understand yourself as an artist, part of a larger context. I don't think you have to go to art school and have a degree to be an artist. Artists have existed all over the world without ever stepping foot in a classroom. A lot of the time I spent in art school for me was really just like eye-opening moments, discovering something new, meeting somebody new, hearing something said for the first time. It was like that act of learning opens you up as an artist to more and more and more possibilities. Whew. When I graduated college and I came to New York, I didn't have my papers, so I had to just work any number of jobs to just make ends meet. I really was looking for stability, and I was looking for a way to exist in the world without feeling like I have to be on survival mode. I loved the work that I was doing, but it always felt like my art practice was secondary to that. When you give everything to yourself to something that you love, it's hard to have extra left over for something else that you love. I got to this place where I got the big promotion that people really work their whole lives to get, but then I realized that's not where I want to give the next 10 years of my life. I want to give those 10 years to myself. For many years, I was making decisions out of fear. I was making decisions out of, I'm afraid I'm not gonna have enough money. Realizing how much of my life and the decisions I've been making were out of fear helped me make the decision to leave that dream job and to invest into myself and into my practice. So the chain link fence is a motif that I started using in my work when I was in college, because I was thinking a lot about the border that exists between Mexico and the US. I started playing around with the fence because I really loved the sort of pattern. Then this past year, after seeing so many images and videos of children and people in cages, I don't know, it did something to me. It like became new all of a sudden. Like it took on a totally different meaning. It became even more dangerous. And I realized, you know, the fence is this object that we see everywhere. And now every time I started paying more attention, I'm like, everything is fenced. We live in containment. So this sense of creating separations just became very interesting to me in a time where I felt isolated and confined in my home. Over time, as I've been drawing and painting the chain link, it became the fishing net. The fishing net is this tool for entrapment. The fence is the same thing. It's a tool of entrapment, of displacement, of dislocation. This series of works are works on paper that I made for the Affordable Art Fair exhibition called Playground, really playing off of this idea of childhood memories. I've been thinking a lot about my own childhood and my own immigrant journey into the US as a child. This has almost been a way for me to heal my inner child. For me, they're really about reclaiming some of that agency that was lost. These bags, these paintings, these objects are different ways of thinking about what is a painting and creating an art object that is more accessible to a bigger audience and to people who are maybe not used to, for instance, buying paintings or collecting art. This is an opportunity to engage an audience in thinking about art in a totally different way. Painting for me in my practice has been a very selfish endeavor because it allows me to think through the things that are just kind of biting at me, like the most urgent. And it's always been around a sense of identity, sense of belonging. Success can mean a lot of things for artists. For me, it means having the time and space to continue to explore. It's not bound to money. It's having the peace of mind to just show up every day and do what I love. That's just what I want to do. It's funny because when you're younger, you always imagine in your head what something will be that you're working towards. You know, what it would be like to be married, what it would be like to have your own apartment, what it would be like to have a career as an artist full time. You idealize it. And then when you're in it, you're like, this is boring. This is not what I expected. You think you need more money. You think you need the right connections. You think you need the right materials. Everything needs to be lined up and it has to be the perfect setup and then you can succeed. But the truth is you have to just start somewhere and then you go from there. When you close your mind to what is possible, what are you gonna achieve? How are you going to be an artist and have success if you don't believe you deserve success? My name is Francisco Donoso and this was a pretty normal day.